you ask yourself, who do I want to be? Not just for myself, who do I want to be for others? How do I want to show up for others, right? The more that we allow ourselves to connect to who we are, but then also be a source of help for somebody else, we give ourselves so much more purpose. It's not just about us and about creating the life that we desire and the business that we desire. It then becomes, we're doing this for someone else. And then life becomes really, really beautiful. Over the past 4 years, I've helped a multitude of entrepreneurs understand why there were points in their life and in their business that they just felt halted, why they couldn't reach the success that they wanted, why they felt like they were stuck, and what was holding them kind of trapped in this moment and not reaching that end goal that they desired. And through that, I've been able to really help people connect the reasons why. We all experience things in our life. We go through different traumatic experiences. We take on limiting beliefs. We have fears that arise within us, and all of those things hold us back from reaching the very end goal for ourselves. And so through the work that I do, I help you embody and understand that those aren't the things that define you and they aren't holding you back anymore, but we actually transition them into your power so that your purpose can be set on fire and you can do all that you desire in your life.
Excellent. I love it. So what you'll do is you'll take somebody's limiting beliefs that are holding them back right now, and you'll actually show why the reasons that they think that they can't succeed right now are really the reasons why they can. And you'll turn that around and make that transition from bad to good. Incredible. Okay. So tell me this, how exactly does working with those limiting beliefs and working with these past traumas that are holding the entrepreneurs back affect their ability to make sales and position themselves in the marketplace, right? What is it about them and their traumatic events that really changes their perspective on themselves, and how will working through that help them at the end of the day?
What I start to notice is how much life plays out in our businesses, how much the things that we experience show up in ways of resistance, in the way that we talk about our products, in the way that we show up for our business. And so when you do that deep inner work and you turn these traumas, you uncover them, and you actually allow yourself to heal and allow them to be a PowerPoint for you, you then can show up as your full authentic self in full vulnerability. You're able to actually connect not only with yourself, but with your message and with your soul clients on such a deeper level so that you can speak to them and say exactly what they need to hear and why what you do or what you sell is going to help them, right? Sometimes we get so confused and so ingrained in like thinking that we have to talk about our business in such a way that people don't even necessarily understand it, because we're coming from this part of ourselves that believes that the success that we desire, it might not actually be able to like come into our life. And the reason for that is because there's part of us that's still so stuck in this paradigm almost of like, I want this, I see this for myself, but I don't believe I can achieve it because I was put down in school and told that I would never be anything. I didn't finish college. I grew up in a home that wasn't, full of love and didn't know how to show or share love. There's so many things that we experience that keep us trapped. And so when we uncover all of that and we switch it into a healed part of ourselves, and then we switch it into a power for us, we're able to just show up so authentically that our aura, our energy expands. And then we actually call in the people that are looking for the exact thing that we do with our business.
So that clarity is really where the difference is made. Okay, so let's say you're working with me. I'm the entrepreneur that's struggling with previous trauma. I have limiting beliefs. Where do you start with that process of first identifying them? And let's do a sort of working through session as though I am the entrepreneur that you're working with, right? So what would you start off by asking me? And we can start to maybe work through, and remember, keeping it relevant to the entrepreneur watching. How do we start with working through these traumatic experiences and then start to turn them around, like you said, in a beneficial and positive way?
So the very first thing that we do is we take a deep soul dive. And we actually begin to connect and understand where you are, what your business is, and what your goals are. See, the thing that I've realized the most is that there comes this point in your entrepreneurship journey where, as you're building your business and you have goals, they start to get confusing and messy. And you're like, hold on, do I actually have goals for my life? Or am I only focusing on trying to acquire money in this next month? When are the transactions going to come in? When am I going to reach success on the financial level? And then we start to peel back, okay, well, what are your personal goals? What do you want to achieve personally by reaching success in your business? And then we go even deeper. Well, why do you want that for yourself? Okay, so maybe it's because you want to be able to provide a lifestyle for your family. Well, why do you want that? Because I want to give my family better than I had growing up. And why do you want that? Because I felt like I was never able to see things in the world. I was never able to experience things outside of just going to school and coming home. Okay, well, why do you want that? Right? So we just continue to go deeper and deeper and deeper and understand why you want things in your life. And through that process, we're then able to connect and understand where the limiting belief may be. So why does it feel so unattainable to have the life that you desire, to create the business that you desire, to reach that level of success? Well, because I've never had anybody who supports me and told me that I'm doing a good job. I've always been told that I can't do that. I've always been told no, right? We uncovered and understand the parts of ourselves that got locked down. When we're born, we have such a outstanding mind that literally sees no limiting beliefs, right? That's why kids will just like jump off the couch, go climbing up the wall, and the parents are like, well, what are you doing, right? We're wanting to keep them safe, but in their mind, they believe that they can do anything. And over time, as we grow up, all of the things that we experience take that part of us away, where we then start to believe that we can't go and just climb a wall, that if we fall off the couch, we're going to break something. And that's our initial thought. So that then if we take this next step in our business, what if it doesn't work? What if I fail? But on the flip side, what if I succeed? Am I going to be able to handle success in my life? Am I actually going to be able to do it? So we dive deep into all these things and really get to the bottom line of where the trauma started, where the fears began, where the limiting beliefs began. And then we start to understand and realize that those things weren't a cause of ours. They're a projection of somebody else's belief system that were then put on us, and they're not ours to carry. Instead, they're ours to break. We're breaking the generational trauma, and we're allowing those to become the reason as to why we succeed, why we achieve our dreams. Because I was told that I couldn't. And so, you know what? I'm going to go out and I'm going to do the thing. And if I want to climb this wall, I'm going to go climb this wall. And if I want a multi-million-dollar business, I'm going to go build it, because what I have and what I'm offering people is transformational, and people need it in their life because it's going to make a
Right. I mean, that's incredible. I mean, think about the like behind that all is really somebody else's limiting beliefs that they projected onto you, like you said, right? And then you take those onto yourself in such a an unconscious yet traumatic way, and that's what limits us. And so what is the very first step and maybe it's a question that you ask yourself initially, like, what do you start off by saying to yourself to get to that root cause where you start to dig into it and ask why this and why and why and why until you get to the core of it? What's the first thing that you ask yourself to get that process going?
The first thing that I take people on is a very, very in-depth meditation. And what that allows you to do is to connect to your childlike self, and to look at your childlike self and be able to walk through the life that you've lived, looking in a mirror and seeing things that happen to us that we haven't even realized. That is that's the breaking point for my clients. when I take them through that, because like you just said, unconscious, right? There's an unconscious part of us where all of the trauma and the fears lie. And because they're unconscious, we have pushed them so far down within our nervous system, within our body, within our mind, that we don't actually realize that they're affecting us.
Mm.
And so as we go through this meditation and we connect to your inner self, we start to actually see those things arise. Most of my clients, as when they come out of that, they're like, I didn't even remember that I experienced that until I saw it play out in front of me again.
Mm.
And then it's like this awakening, as I like to
Yeah.
call it. We're awakened to the parts of ourselves that we don't even realize are having such an impact and playing out so largely in our life because they're so unconscious. Then our responses and the way that we go about things turns into a subconscious part of us that is ruled by 96% of our life. Our subconscious rules everything that we do. And so our reactions and the way that we walk through life and the things that we do are all caused by this underlying trauma that most of us don't even realize that we have within us. So taking that deep dive, connecting to that part of yourself is the very first step in opening yourself up to understanding what is being held within you. And from there, we can dive deeper into those parts of yourself that you just opened up and uncovered to really help you heal them and turn them into your power.
Powerful. Okay. And so let's say you and I were doing some sort of a meditation work right now. And I assume that it's something that, you would benefit more by having help from others. But to get started into that process of identifying those limiting beliefs and those unconscious stumbling blocks that are holding us back without us even realizing it, how would you start a meditative session like that with yourself to really get that process going, right?
Mm-hmm. So it's taking a look at where you are right now, taking a look at the business that you have, the life that you're living, and then looking at everything that you desire and want in your life, that life, that dream business. And you ask yourself, why do I feel stuck?
Mm.
Why am I here in this moment feeling like I can't achieve what I dream of? Why does it feel so hard for me? Just asking yourself, there's so much power in the question of why. Because when you ask yourself why, you're going to uncover one thing. One thing's going to come to the top of mind.
Mm.
And then, like I had said at the beginning, it's called the why ladder. You can just take yourself down. Okay, I started here. I asked myself why. This is what came up for me. Why do I feel that way?
Gotcha. Okay.
Why do I, right? So you're taking that in that way, you can take yourself through a little bit of a meditation, but you can help yourself get to a root cause of what is at top of mind for you. Because you're not going to be able to get super, super deep unless you go super, super deep and you keep taking yourself down that why. But you're going to be able to uncover the baseline for what is at the utmost, what is arising for you in this very moment that's holding you back and keeping you feeling stuck where you are from getting to where you want to be.
Incredible. So you start by asking, why am I stuck? And your mind will give you an answer to that. And like you said, you go down that why ladder until what? How do you know that you're at the core of that and there's nowhere left to go? You just stop getting answers, or will you always get an answer to that? When do you know when to stop that, right?
That's it. You can keep going down. You can go down so deep with that why of just really getting to the bottom line. But there's going to come a part of asking yourself why, where you kind of hit the oh my God, okay, I understand why maybe I'm not able. Let's just take, for instance, a lot of people have a really hard time showing up for their business, speaking about their business, sharing about their business, because there's this deep connection, this fear of maybe judgment, or what if people don't think that I'm the expert? What if people don't think that I have enough knowledge to do said thing that I'm doing? And so you can take yourself down that why ladder to get to this bottom answer of why that is keeping you stuck from showing up for your business. And maybe it's because of an experience. Well, when I was in middle school, and I was, raising my hand or doing, not even raising my hand. I got called on for popcorn and I had to read and I froze. Everybody made fun of me and said that I couldn't read. And so
Right.
I don't want to show up and talk on social media or share and speak about my business, because what if people then say that I'm not qualified and I'm not good enough for this?
And it goes back to that time in grade 4 playing the popcorn game. Wow. Okay. And so once you do ask yourself why enough times and you get to the crux of the problem, what do you do about that? Is there some sort of reframing technique that you want to take advantage of? Is just observing it enough? What do you do once you do get to the core of that problem?
So as we uncover this part of our life that led to this trauma, where we're so afraid to show up for ourselves, to show up for our business, then we have to kind of take ourselves back up the why ladder. Why do I need to do this? Why is this going to help me? Why is showing up for my business going to change my life? Why is this going to help me get to where I want to go? And so now we're reprogramming our mind so that that very instance is exactly why we need to do what we need to do. Because little Johnny is over here trying to be in our mind, tell us that we can't, when in fact, you know what? I'm going to show little Johnny up and I'm going to go out here and I'm going to speak about my business because I am so confident and passionate that people need this in their life that I can't let little Johnny rule my life anymore.
Right.
And so it's like you go down and then you take that ladder back up. And as you come up and you're understanding and connecting this why of why you now need to do said thing for yourself to get yourself unstuck, the question is how, right? Okay, so how do I do this? And it comes with it's like an entire mind body thing, because this is all living in our unconscious and in our subconscious of how we play out and do things in our mind. So we're having to rewire things. And something that you can do for yourself is when the feelings start to come up, when the thought is, okay, well, I said I was going to go live today, and you know what? I think little Johnny is going to come and play some more, so I might just wait till tomorrow. I'm going to put myself up and I'll do it tomorrow. We have to, in that moment when our body is like going into almost the fight or flight mode, we have to take a minute. We have to pause, check in on your breathing. Check in on your heart rate, like literally feel your heart. Okay, is my heart beating really fast? Okay, let me take some really deep breaths in. Let me calm my nervous system. Something that my clients think is so weird, but it actually helps a lot, is in that moment to just go and like hum. Why? Because your vagus nerve holds all of this trauma and it's connected to literally every part of your body. It goes up to your brain, down to your stomach, your lungs, literally every part of yourself. So as you're taking some deep breaths in, you're trying to just calm your body, you can go and you can hum it out, let your vocal cords relax, hum it, let your body relax. And then I got this from Mel Robbins, right? She says, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. So you calmed your body and you're going to count 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and I'm going to go. And you know what? I don't care. I'm not going to think anymore. I'm going to grab my phone. I'm going to push live and I'm going to start talking about my business.
And you're rolling. Yeah.
And you just go and you just do it. And you're just starting to just rewire your mind to say, I got this. I can do this. I am empowered. But it's like having to tell your mind, your body to relax and calm down and then be like, I'm here for it. Let's go.
I love it. Okay, let's take it back a step. I want to go back to that yes ladder, the why ladder, as you're going down these steps, right? Are they going to be doing this on paper? What's the best way to go about finding the whys? And also at each step, each time you ask yourself why and why, starting with why am I stuck? Every time you're going to get an answer, do you do work on that answer as well as asking why that? At each step of the why ladder, are you asking more questions within that to kind of dig into truth and really start to realize that a lot of these stumbling blocks aren't even true, and you've been limiting yourself based off of these untruths? And how do you really dig into these each step of that, both going down and then going back up, like you talked about?
I highly recommend doing it on paper, because then not only are you writing it out, you're giving again your mind body connection to allowing it to flow to paper, and that will lead into that conscious mind, bringing up in the moment the conscious. And so as you're writing it down, you're going to be able to, there's going to be some parts, some things that come up in the why ladder where you're like, yeah, well, I knew that. Okay, well, but why is that deeper? And then there's maybe one that's really deep that it's like, okay, I need to venture off for a second and understand what this has maybe led to and connected to in other paths in my life. And then it's just this deep inner work of just understanding yourself. Because I think that is the biggest thing that we're not taught. We're not told to understand ourselves. We're just told who we're meant to be and how we have to show up and what we're supposed to do in life without recognizing or understanding how everything we've experienced has impacted us and has created who we are and how we show up as ourselves. And so you're just going to take yourself and allow every thought in your mind to just come out, allow it to be on paper. And it doesn't have to be a thing where you understand each and everything in that very moment, because maybe you're not ready to understand that part. Maybe you need to go ahead and you need to take yourself down the why ladder and go as far as you can. And then say, you know what, I'm going to come back and I'm going to check in on this tomorrow so that I can maybe go deeper. Because we don't want to take ourselves too far where then we're sitting there and we're like, I don't know who I am. I am so confused, right? We want to allow your body and your mind to tell you, okay, I've gotten to this point. Now, how am I going to transition this up the why ladder? How am I going to make this a part of what I do now? And that is almost when you get to bring strategy into your life and into your business, because now you're understanding why you need to do said thing that you've been keeping yourself from doing. Now you can connect it to parts of your life and business that you can start implementing it. So maybe it's okay, I know that I need to show up for myself because that's going to allow me to reach more people and impact more lives. Why do I want to do that, and how? How am I going to do that? Well, if I go ahead and I create content and I show up and I do videos, or I go on podcasts, or I just talk to other people, okay, that is a great tool for my business to help me grow. If I allow myself to break out of this fear zone, to release this trauma and say yes to myself, that I'm going to do this for me because it means that my why is bigger than little Johnny.
I love it. And everybody's got a little Johnny, multiple little Johnnies talking to them unconsciously, limiting them without realizing it. And I can't imagine how much more impact an entrepreneur could have if they first identified the little Johnnies and figured out the reasons why that voice is actually in that experience, that original core of that problem is actually the reason why they can succeed when it's actually observed and identified and dug into enough, right? And I wonder at each step of the why ladder, if there is actually, like, let's say I ask myself, why am I stuck? And an answer comes up. That answer is also a reason why you're not stuck if you look at it from a different point of view. And so I wonder at each step of the why ladder that you're going down, you can also look at each answer that you write down. And that's why it's so important to do it on paper, I reckon, because you can look at the answers that you give in step-by-step order and completely dismantle all of the reasons why you thought you were stuck before, because at every step, that's also the reason why you're not stuck. Right? Because it has the duality of that, the opposite end of that has the same reason or the same power to unleash and really unshackle that stuck feeling that you have, right? Am I going down the right path there? Do you agree with that at every step?
Absolutely. And it's just like, that's another tool that you can use for yourself is if you want to uncover the limiting beliefs. You know, we all walk around with negative thoughts come into our mind more than positive thoughts ever do.
Yeah.
Right. They're the thing that flow in and they're the thing that halt us and stop us. So another tool to break out as you're going through that why ladder is to transition those limiting beliefs into a radical self-acceptance. And so it's looking at, maybe somebody says, you know, I am unworthy. They walk through life and I'm unworthy of success. You can just start telling yourself, I'm worthy of success. Right? It's taking that negative mental state and turning it into a positive. And again, taking those pauses when those things come up. For a lot of people, we look at ourselves in the mirror and it's like, I'm not happy with myself. I don't love myself. You know, I am loved. I am amazing and the person that I am with the path that I've walked, and I'm meant to be the person that I am meant to be, the person that I desire to be. It's telling ourselves that everything that limits us is our superpower, because it is.
Mhm.
We're holding on to that for a reason, because it's keeping us comfortable, right? It's keeping us in the zone where we've lived most of our life that feels fine, that feels comfortable. It's like a little security blanket. I'll keep myself safe if I keep all of this wrapped around me. And in reality, that little safety blanket is what's holding you back. It's keeping you trapped and stuck and not allowing your arms to just like go and freely create and be yourself and understand who you are and the magic that you have to share with the world. And so, if you can just take that off by rewiring all these little parts of yourself, doing that Y letter, understanding who you are on such a soul deep inner level, and then taking those negative limiting beliefs and switching them into positive, radical self acceptance, you will see yourself transform. And the person that you look at in the mirror today is going to look so different than the person that you look at in even just a week from now.
I love it. You talk about rewiring yourself, and I wonder how you can, at each step, you talk about, yeah, see, because that's the problem I think a lot of people are facing is that, first of all, none of this is identified consciously, yet unconsciously, it's all there. There are a bunch of knots that have to be untied. And the way you untie them is first by asking yourself the right question that brings them to light, and you can dig into them for truth. And I find that, like you said, a lot of the time we'll focus on the negatives of the situation in each step, whereas the positive is still in the dark, right? And so even by observing it and by, like you said, by flipping that around, you're able to look at it from both points of view and see that both the negative and the positive are both true. And I think you put it like coming to terms with the oneness or something like that by accepting and observing both the positive and the negative of each point, right? And so I wonder, and yeah, I'm going down the right path there, right? Like that's exactly okay. And so what are some mistakes that an entrepreneur that's going through this process, this meditative self-reflection, very observing state and in practice, what are some mistakes that somebody doing that can make, and how can they correct those?
I think the biggest mistake that us as entrepreneurs can make is not allowing ourselves to go deep enough.
Mm.
Stopping ourselves before we've actually got to the point, right? We can go ahead and we can do the Y ladder and we can say, okay, I understand that, and never touch it again.
Mm.
And not allowing ourselves to fully get to the depths of who we are, why we do things in the way that we do, how we walk through life is the biggest mistake that any of us can make. Because not allowing ourselves to face the fears that we have in the eyes and tell them that they no longer hold power over us will never, well, I won't say never, but it will keep us and take us a lot longer to reach a point of success than it will than if we allow ourselves to constantly make it a habit to do the inner deep work for ourselves.
Right. Okay. And so how would you know when you've done the work effectively and as deeply enough? How do you know when your job's done? You know?
It's never over.
Fascinating.
It's
Okay.
never over. Our personal development, our self-development, going deep on ourselves, understanding who we are. Life is always going to happen, right? So as we're healing parts of ourselves and we're bringing up the things that we've experienced in our childhood, life is still going to be happening. So
Hmm.
you might experience something tomorrow that then has you going about life in a new and different way, creating a new pattern. And so it's never over. The journey is never over for us, which is why we can never stop reading personal development books, right? Because we're always understanding deeper parts of ourselves by way of somebody else's story of like, wow, I connect that, I understand that. No matter where we are in our entrepreneurship journey, no matter how much success we've reached, we can't stop. You don't see Tony Robbins out there saying that he doesn't do anything anymore. His personal development is top of mind. That is the thing that he does for hours of his day, is work on himself before he works on anybody else.
Right. And that's what anybody that's watching can and should and must do if they want to reach their maximum potential. And, going back to the positive and negative of that, somebody can look at that and say, with a nihilistic point of view, that, oh, why should I bother if I'm never going to get to the end of it? Right. And what that person's missing is that exciting journey of really digging into yourself and figuring out just how far you can go with the process. Incredible. Okay. And so what is the, there's got to be a place going down and through understanding yourself and really getting to the depths of yourself at the end of the day. There's got to be a place where people will typically get stuck, right? How can somebody know, first of all, that they've gotten stuck? Where do they typically get stuck, and how do they get unstuck once they've realized that they're stuck, right?
You'll come up against this point of resistance that you're already feeling with the things that you do in your business, but it's going to be like tenfold. It's going to be the resistance where maybe you're so deep and you feel so stuck in something that has traumatized you in such an impactful way that you don't want to even like look at your business or do anything for your business, because you know what, maybe this is too much for me. Maybe I'm not meant for this. Maybe I can't do this. And that's the very moment that you need to do it, because your body is saying, whoa, 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 if I let go of this, I'm going to be somebody that I don't know. I'm going to be in a whole new place. And that's scary and that's uncomfortable. But what is going to come from that? How much beauty is on the other side of this fear, of this resistance, of the very thing that now has you stuck in this place as you've gone so deep and you've uncovered something that maybe you didn't even realize you went through? What is accepting it and turning that into your power and allowing it to be a place for you to move forward? What is that going to do for you? It's going to open you up and expand you in such ways that you can't even comprehend. And that's why we have to keep going, because we don't even know what's for us or what's out there for us or what we can do until we allow ourselves to do it. None of us knew that we were going to be entrepreneurs. It's just, we had that tinge on our heart and we're like, you know what? I have a desire to do something for myself. And so I'm going to give myself a chance and I'm going to try this. I don't know what's going to come from it. And maybe there were things that we tried that didn't work out and it didn't pan out. And at the end of the day, we realized that we weren't so connected to that. And so we moved on and we tried something different. So if we can do that, if we can try so many different things in our life, if we can be in a relationship and understand, you know what, this relationship isn't for me. I'm going to get out of this one and I'm going to try something new. If we can allow ourselves to do that in the present and in the now, why can't we give ourselves the opportunity to understand who we are, to uncover those dark places, and to keep ourselves going so that the stuckness doesn't feel stuck?
Incredible.
It's another why. Why?
Yes, exactly. Okay. The way I look at that, it's like ego versus self. And as you're digging into these dark truths about yourself, you'll start to have the ego scream at you. These thoughts will come up to stop, to not continue, because what that is that fear of expanding or getting past that ego and experiencing the self, right? From a Jungian standpoint, that Carl Jung talked about that a lot. And it's fascinating. And I think that's what we're talking about here. And moving to another tactic, another strategy of really getting to those core traumas and those limiting beliefs. Where can I get the most results with the least amount of effort? Do you have any other ways beyond the yes ladder? What are some other ways and tactics and strategies that an entrepreneur could really start to dig into that truth of themselves?
I think that one thing that comes up for me immediately is that there's always going to be effort to everything that we do in our life. But we can also get into a pattern of how we run our business that works for us, leading to less effort, right? And that's the beauty of also diving deep within to yourself, is understanding how you work on an energetic level. So say there's an entrepreneur who thrives on 12 to 14-hour days and it's focused time, but they just like to move at a slow pace and go through things and just kind of feel really good and just in their zone about it. Another entrepreneur thinks and says, yeah, I can't do 12 to 14-hour days because that's going to exhaust me, overwhelm me, put me in the stress zone. I'm somebody that works really, really well on 4 hours of super focused, like high priority, high task work. So it's understanding and getting to yourself on that now energetic level after you've gone through and you've understand who you are and why you do things in the way you do. Okay, now how does my energetic system align with this person that I am? How do I run and work? Because personally for me, I suffer from fatigue because of an autoimmune disease. So because of that, I have to be very gentle with my energy. I have to know and understand and balance my day in a way that works for my energetic system. I have to support my adrenals and I have to do all the things to keep myself at a high performance level. But I know that because I know how my energy works through my body. And so it's getting, and this goes so deep because now you're going into things like human design and the dynamics of your personality. So it goes so deep, but even just being able to take a step back and looking at your day and like, okay, so how I've been running my business, I've been told that I have to be in this hustle state. That doesn't feel good to me. I personally don't believe in the hustle and the grind. I believe in flow, working in your own personal flow. So if I'm somebody where I hear the word hustle and I'm like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to just like lose my life, not have any social aspects to it. I don't want to not be able to like be a present parent and play with my kids throughout the day because all I'm doing is focusing on work. Well, I'm now connecting who I am and my energetic strategy of maybe how I run and operate to also creating my dream life. So if I want to create my dream life, I've uncovered and brought up all these parts of me that I'm now working on healing and transitioning into radical self-acceptance for myself. Now, how do I work best here? Okay, so I'm the type where I'm going to have a slow morning. That's going to be my personal development time. I'm going to get my reading in. I'm going to do some journaling. I'm going to claim what I desire in life and I'm going to write it out as though I already have it. I'm going to do some meditation. I'm going to pull some oracle cards, and then I'm going to spend time with my daughter. And I'm going to allow her to dictate how she wants her morning to go. Okay, so maybe we're playing, we're eating breakfast, we're watching cartoons. Okay, it's 11 o'clock. Now it's mommy's time to check in for work. And now I know that I have supported myself for how I like my mornings to go, how I flow and how I get myself into a state of high performance and what feels really good for me. And now I can focus on my business. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to strategize how I want to run my business throughout the week. I'm my days are set. Mondays, I am prepping and planning for the week, everything that I have. I'm checking in on my calendar, seeing how many calls I have, checking in with clients. Tuesdays, it's like content creation time. I'm full, just like in my zone of thinking about reels and content and emails and other programs I can create for my clients. Wednesdays, it's interviews, podcasts. I'm editing my own podcast and putting it out there, right? So now I have the strategy of my days sectored out to what I do. So I'm not just opening my laptop and I'm like, okay, what am I doing today? Right? I've figured out my energetic system so that I could then put in a system within my business and in my life that works for me personally.
At an individual level. Exactly. Okay. And so that there's so much value with what you just went into there. First thing that they want to do is really dig into the unconscious traumas and limiting beliefs. Once they've done that, they can start to optimize their days and their weeks and their months based on them specifically. And so how does that entrepreneur, let's say they've never done any of this work before, it's all new to them. How do they really start to understand how they work best. How do they know if they are best working 14-hour days or 4 hours a day? How do they know which days of the week is best to do what? How would you instruct somebody to go through that self-discovery process, right?
Part of it becomes trial and error while also looking back at your past performance of how you worked within. So maybe you were in the corporate field, or you were in a job where you were working 8-hour days, 10-hour days, 12-hour days. How did you feel? Did you like having to set an alarm and get up at a certain time every day and be told when to clock in? Or do you like to go more with the flow? Are you somebody that is very sporadic, or are you somebody that needs everything down to the time set for you? Right? It's understanding how you work and how you operate. What isn't going to send you into that anxious anxiety mode where you hit overwhelm and you hit burnout, and then you have to take a long break because you're like, I'm so disconnected from myself and everything I'm doing that I don't know what I'm doing. So you have to look at your past performance of how you've done things. You have to connect and understand how you reach success for yourself. And I'm talking about how you reach success in your meals, in your sleep, in your communication, right? Success is so much more than just like reaching success in business. It's having a successful life and just the way that we move and do things. And so how do I best operate? Am I somebody who, if I sit down, I'm not going to take a break for the rest of the day and I'm not going to feed myself? That's me. I forget to eat a lot. So I have to remind myself. It's like I put timers in my phone. I have one for 11:11, 2:22, and right, I'm somebody who's very just spiritually connected. So I'm like, okay, I want these magical numbers to be my points that I see. But 11:11, I have an affirmation that pops up on my phone, because at 11 o'clock is when I sit down and I start my work. So 11:11, I get an affirmation that pops up and reminding me who I am and the life that I'm creating for myself. And then I have it 2:22. Okay, go ahead, take a break. It's time for you to take a break from what you're doing. You need to fuel yourself, give yourself some energy, give yourself a moment to break away and just be with yourself. So you have to just really understand who you are. And then you just go about creating the way that you like and do things. Now it's breaking down what you have to do for your life and for your business, and then structuring that into your days as well. So do you know in your business how your business runs? Are you doing marketing? Are you creating content? Are you sending out emails? Are you working on your website? Do you have client calls? Are you creating a product that you have to talk to manufacturers about? When do you want to do those things? That's the beauty of business, is that none of us have to run business in the exact same way, because we're all so dynamic in our own being that we can achieve the same things if we understand who we are and how we do things right. So how somebody else's strategy helps them make $10,000 in 30 days, when we try and implement that, maybe it's not going to work for us, not because we can't do that, but because part of us is like, I don't understand how they do that. I don't work well with that strategy. That's not for me. This is like gibberish that I'm hearing. And so it's just understanding your process and how you do it and breaking things down. And it's just, like I said, there's some trial and error there. You're going to have weeks where you try, okay, I'm going to do this day. And at the end of the week, you're like, you know what? That actually didn't work. So I'm going to switch this over here and I'm going to do this over here. And you just play with it and you find what works for you. And then you see all of a sudden that your life and your business is in flow and you're walking through life confident and you understand who you are and what your business is. And things just start feeling really, really good. And that dream life, that dream business is so much closer and achievable and attainable than you ever had imagined before.
It's incredible. Like, that's a very good tactic. I really like that, how you can look back at previous performance when you were working the best, when you found that you were in flow most of the time, and moving forward, you test, you experiment. This might have worked for him. Maybe I can try it for a week, see if I like it, see how I feel. And I feel like you judge it based off of your feelings, how it feels in the time, right? And how these new activities are working, and I wonder how you, besides feeling, how you first of all judge to see if it's working for you, and second, how you know what to test. Where do you find, because there's so many options of things that you can do and test and try to experiment with what works with you individually, and so how do you know what to test? How do you know where to go to figure out what you can try out, and how do you know that it's something that you want to continue to do, right?
It's like a combination, right? Sometimes there's parts of ourselves that we can uncover and realize and connect the dots and put things in place on our own. And then sometimes we're going to need like an outsider's perspective. And
Yeah.
that's where getting help and asking for help and finding somebody who can help you put these things in place for yourself. Like being able to look at your life from the outsider's perspective and be like, okay, so maybe this part isn't working for you. What if you do it this way? What if you try it this way? And it just becomes like this duality in your life. You could even ask like your partner or a friend, you know, how do you think I work well if I am in a high stress zone? Or how do I go about things? How have you seen me go about things if like life has happened to me? Right? Understanding yourself from also other people's perspectives is a really, really great way to understand yourself as well. But besides that, it's as you're piecing in and you're putting in all these different parts of your life and your business in these sectors, what feels good? You know your business, right? You know what you want to create and do for your business. Are you missing something in your business that's going to allow it to run better, right? We're all not like rock stars in every area of life and business. And sometimes we need help. You know, sometimes we need somebody to create the content for us, or we need somebody to send the emails out. It's then comes to this point of outsourcing the things that we know that we're not good at, but that have to be done for our business for it to reach that level of success. And staying in like your genius zone, your zone of genius, right? Where you're good, what you do good. And so it's just, there's so much to growing a business and getting to where you want. I feel like we could talk and share about it forever. But the biggest thing you can do for yourself here now is understand who you are, because that's then going to be able to trickle down and lead to everything else. Then you're going to be able to implement and understand your energetic strategy and your energetic system. And you're going to be able to look at your days and your weeks and align and choose and pick how to do things that work in a way for you. And it's all just going to then become this like little puzzle piece of your life and your business that you do. And you're like, okay, you know what? I'm not good at that. So maybe I'll get some help with that part.
Incredible. I like that. The puzzle piece analogy is fascinating. It's like a mosaic, right? Every day of your life is a tile of the mosaic, and you're building something that's a beautiful end result. And every step of the way is a new tile, and incredible. Okay. So in terms of discovering yourself and really, again, getting to that core truth of yourself, what's a question that I didn't ask that I should have asked that would really help an entrepreneur understand and really get to the core of understanding who they are and being able to optimize their days so that they can take most advantage of that self?
I think that a deep question that you could ask yourself is, who do I want to show up as? And that's going to allow you to then understand just the part of you that lets you go down this journey that we just talked about, right? Who do I want to be? How do I want to show up in the world? What transformation do I want to offer people? And something that now just popped into my mind that I want to say is that when we have businesses, a lot of times we just think about us. What am I going to get out of this? And as we're doing this journey of self-discovery, it's all about us, right? We're learning how to run our business, run our life in a way that works for us. But deeper than that, how are you going to affect other people? What transformation are you going to give? How are you going to help the world, whether it's a service or whether it's a product that you create? What is it doing for somebody else? And if you ask yourself, who do I want to be? How do I want to show up? Not just for myself, who do I want to be for others? How do I want to show up for others, right? The more that we allow ourselves to connect to who we are, but then also be a source of help for somebody else, we give ourselves so much more purpose. It's not just about us and about creating the life that we desire and the business that we desire. It then becomes, we're doing this for someone else as well. And then life becomes really, really beautiful. Because you wake up and you're like, okay, I figured this all out for me so that I can do this all in the best way. And so I know myself and I'm confident and I love what I do. And now I'm going to go out here and I'm going to do this because of them. I'm going to change their life.
I love it. Yes, changing that perspective from focusing on you to them, what you're here for, and what kind of an impact you can make once you truly identify everything that was limiting you and realize that those were actually the reasons why you can get to where you want to go and can go and should go for others. That transition from self to them. Incredible. Okay, and so moving forward, let's say somebody wants to continue doing this kind of work with you. How would they go about getting some more help from you, getting that sort of outsider perspective so that they can not have to do this alone? What does something like that look like?
Yeah, I offer a 12-week program, and it's called Total Ascension Business Builder. And it helps you step into life and business mastery. And so everything that we've talked about today is what we dive into in this 12-week program, but even deeper, because now you're not doing it by yourself. You're doing it with the support and help of me there to guide you and get you to the next step and help you make the connections and kind of place those puzzle pieces in a quicker pattern, finding the piece that goes next without having to do so much of it alone, right? And that's another thing that feels scary when we're going down this, is doing it alone and knowing that you don't have to, and that you never have to walk through life or business alone again. In this 12-week program, we go from everything of uncovering your traumas, recognizing where they reside within your body, healing them, turning them into your power, understanding your future self, gaining control of who you are and what you want to be, envisioning your future life, and then being able to set yourself up and your business up in a way that is just absolutely achievable because you said yes to yourself and you honored yourself in knowing that you needed to uncover and unblock the certain parts of you that are so deep ingrained and within your unconscious that you don't even see how much they're holding you back and keeping you stuck in this very moment.
Incredible. Okay. And you and I worked out a deal. Usually more money than this. Right now it's $15.57 to get access to the 12-week program. And let's say they're 3 years down the road, looking back over the last 3 years after having completed the program, right? What kind of a life, what kind of feelings, what are they seeing that they weren't seeing before 3 years from now, looking back?
So something that a lot of my clients say is that they feel peace. They feel light. All of the things that were weighing them down and holding them back and making them feel so heavy and confused and blocked and disconnected are no longer there. They feel like when things arise and happen in their life, it doesn't stop them or hinder them. They're able to immediately change the scenario, refocus, get back into alignment, and it doesn't take them off the beaten path anymore. Instead, they're just walking over it. There's a little hump, they move right through it, and they continue going and moving. And so rather than the life events happening that just keep us and make us feel like we can't move on, it gives you a way to move through them in such a way that nothing else in your life gets impacted. Your relationships are no longer in jeopardy. Your business is no longer in jeopardy because you are at such a place of peace and alignment that you can just flow right through it.
Incredible. I love it. Okay. And in terms of the actual offer itself, they get the 12-week program. What do they get for free on top of that? Can you throw in any free bonuses to entice my audience specifically so that we can get some, I want to go to bat for them, right? So what can we give them for free to entice them to check this offer out?
Yeah, so not only will you get the 12-week program, but you also get live weekly coaching calls where we are working together and we're moving through this program and we're doing the work and really helping you get it as a part of yourself. And then we also get to have a weekly call. So you get 2 weekly calls, another call where you're not just learning how to do it, but now we're doing some coaching together and we're understanding and recognizing the patterns and we're shifting them and allowing them to just become a part of you. You also are going to get access to 3 bonus programs. I'm giving it all away for you. You get 3 more bonus programs that really help you to fine tune these parts of your life to help you understand and dive even deeper. Meditations that are going to help you connect to the parts of you that you have blocked out for so long. You're going to also get some business building activity resources that are really going to help you to create new habits and routines for yourself so that you can just make this all a new way of being. It all is just going to come for full circle. And on top of that, I'm also offering you guys 30 days of private one-to-one coaching as well with the 12-week program.
So they get that outsider perspective from you directly and get your time. And that's for free on top of the program. They get that because they're here in the gallery. They're able to get access to this unprecedented offer that you're only putting together because of this platform. Incredible. Yes. Okay. So the link is on the page. If you want to go check this out right now, click the button below and, read the copy, see if it feels good for you. And if it does, if it feels right, then move forward. And we'll take it from there. And, 3 years from now, you look back and you feel that peace. And yes. I don't think you can put a price on that. So incredible. Thank you, Shelby. I appreciate your answers and thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me here. Thank you for allowing me to share it with all of you. And I hope that I can support you if this is a calling on your journey.